Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech This. I am Danny Heron, Business Development Manager here at Strategic Communications. Tech This is a podcast that we do every month, highlighting the latest technology solutions available on the market. And this month we have a great technology to showcase and highlight. I would like to introduce Stew Goumans. I saw that right, Stu?
You definitely got that right for sure.
Awesome.
It's great
A
to get you
sales,
get to get that right on the first time, right?
right. Stu is a sales engineer for Ekahau, so great to have you on this podcast, Stu.
Well, it's glad to be here, Danny. It's great. Not everyone get my name right the first time. It's actually not a problem. It's one of those funny Dutch names, right? So don't be ashamed. It's actually a lot of fun. This is great, and I think I enjoy doing these type of podcasts because it really gets to kind of have the conversation with folks like yourself in the industry to kind of like what are the tools out there? How do we kind of help in that environment, right? And
Absolutely.
and like I say, as a um been in this for many years, and even myself is working at Ekahau, it's kind of really kind of changed the environment, right? Like how do these tool sets kind of help us out, right? And at Ekahau, like where have we been, right? Is
Right.
well, what have we been doing, right? And so kind of start to kick it off here is Ekahau's been around for quite a little while. We've been a pioneer in the industry. We got ourselves started out on the RTLS business, and we were designing location tracking. And wouldn't it be great to design for Wi-Fi networks, right? To get it right,
Yep.
because if we're designing for RTLS, we better be doing it. Not only
Absolutely.
that we're using it from the world's biggest brands and recommended solutions, but I mean, Danny, and when you say is like when we're looking at Wi-Fi today, it's like, it's everywhere, right? And when you
Wow.
look at the numbers, right, it's like, you know, 82% of that traffic is video. Well, where is that? And you say, so, no, it can't be, but it is because you've got connected homes and that are delivering Wi-Fi between their TVs, right? You got your Apple TVs, you have your iPhones, your iPads, and they're all using Wi-Fi. And within the corporate office as well, it's still video traffic. And even today, like meetings such as this, it's going over Wi-Fi. I'm transferring this call over Wi-Fi and going back into some infrastructure, but it's still a Wi-Fi call, right?
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
most important for businesses today is we need to kind of make sure that's working well. And when we talk about the world is Wi-Fi first, boy is it ever. You look back several years ago, and we were all saying, you know what, Wi-Fi is there, and people says, oh, it's a nice to have. But as our devices become more prolific in our daily use, like those mobile devices, we need to have good Wi-Fi. And it's not just to have a good, we need to have great Wi-Fi. And if we're not doing that, then it's definitely the world stops, right? I can
Absolutely.
tell you that in your house, I bet you if Wi-Fi is down in your house, you'll be the first to hear about it, right?
Oh
From
yeah.
from someone in the family, right? So in the household. So that just happens. And we have that demand for Wi-Fi is front and center now, right? And when you look at the numbers here, it's like 75% of Wi-Fi networks aren't able to keep up with the demands being thrown at them. And that is so true. We're finding that customers are now getting much more savvy in planning their solutions now to have
Absolutely.
great Wi-Fi.
That's an astronomical number. Um, from your perspective, Stu, when you're working with customers and designing wireless, infrastructure, wireless networks, what is often overlooked when they're designing these infrastructure networks? And from your experience, what you know potholes do they come across that you see that they need to avoid?
That's a great question, and it really starts with a foundation, right? You need to have a good foundation to build any infrastructure, right? You need to have the support columns, right? You need to have the frame of the house to be built properly in order to support the upper levels, or even in a tower, right? You need to have a good foundation to do that. Well, Wi-Fi is no exception, right? You need to have a proper foundation to understand is, well, how many devices am I going to have? How many people are going to be in this building? Well, you got to plan for rooms and washrooms and everything else. Well, you got to think about planning for Wi-Fi the same way. Is how many access points am I going to need to supply it for all those users? And one of the three ways we do that is actually doing a great network design, right? We want to start out with the right number of access points, all in the right locations, doing the right configurations. And we can do that within our Ekahau Pro software. We go out to do that day two in validation. Well, we'll talk about a little bit more about what the Sidekick can do, but we can help validate and give you super accurate measurements from that Sidekick. And that's actually going to go out and measure how our current access points are doing, and also measure how our planned or recently installed infrastructure is. And we talk about maintaining that Wi-Fi with some great health checks, right? It was, well, it's nice to have Wi-Fi and it's running and we validated the design, but sometimes we have to go out there and check them up every once in a while because it is a shared medium and it is a radio frequency. And a lot of times we have to go in and double check those things. Yeah, so we talk about that great design. Your input matters, right? It's, are these concrete walls? Do they have steel infrastructure? Are they glass conference rooms? How many employees can have? And then you need to remember, where those APs are in the right location. And it's really important and key to have all of this done at the beginning to understand is because when I go out and order those access points, I want to make sure for certain that those APs are in the right locations because I'm spending a lot of money to put them in there. And I want to make sure that they're going to be done right the first time. So that's one of the things that we key metrics of in the design software, and where Ekahau really prides itself in, and we continue to advance the product over continuously to actually meet those challenges. And validating the design is that one other thing we get into what the Sidekick is its accuracy is defined, right? It's one of the most accurate all-in-one Wi-Fi diagnostic tools on the market today to help you kind of survey faster and understand spectrum analysis even faster than what we could before.
What makes Sidekick so accurate? I see in the market a lot of reputable IT companies use, Sidekick
Mhm.
to map their, their customers' wireless networks. In your perspective, what makes it so accurate compared to the competition that's out there?
That's a great question. And what makes a Sidekick really kick is that it has a kind of a full gambit of material, right? We've got our 7 omnidirectional antennas. We have a dedicated spectrum analyzer that's monitoring 2, 4, and 5 gigahertz simultaneously. We also got that jam packed with 2 independent Wi-Fi radios that are scanning both 2, 4, and 5 gigahertz, understanding what the EPs are doing from their RSSI levels to the SNR, their connectivity, their roaming aspects. We can see all of that within those radios. We also have a dedicated onboard battery up to 8 to 10 hours, CPU, and storage. This enables us to scan, or to survey, I should say, 2 times faster and 10 times faster on the spectrum analysis with about 39 kilohertz of resolution at 25 sweeps per second. Now, that sounds really kind of geekazoid, like that's, wow, that's kind of geek specs, like, holy crap. Why does this matter? Well, it matters because in getting back into kind of that accuracy matters on how we do our surveys is to paint us a better picture of how our infrastructure is doing. Because with better empirical data, we then can make sure that we've got it all designed, we've validated, and we're making sure that we're keeping our APs doing what they're supposed to be doing, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. And you know with the specs that the Sidekick has, it's so extraordinary. Um, you know, Speaking of Ekahau's applications and programs, Survey is optimized for iPhone and iPad. And creates kind of even more flexible and faster Wi-Fi survey experience. What makes this so fast compared to traditional Wi-Fi survey tactics?
Yeah, well, what it basically starts out with, even on our right from our Pro tool, right? So when we do that, we actually, we set ourselves up our plan up in Pro, and just kind of highlight, we store well over, 4,000 different types of access points in our database, right? That's antenna combinations as well. We can scan for Wi-Fi 6 environments, which is AX today, and we have all those configurations built in for all those vendors, which then in turns helps us get us prepped to move on into kind of that into the survey realm, right? It's like, well, I got my basis set up. Now I'm going to go out and survey. And one of the cool things we can do now is survey with our iOS device. Because do I want to actually go out with my notebook these days and do a survey? Probably not, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you know as well as I do, I'm like holding a notebook and then trying to open doors and then clicking and then
Oh
bazillion
yeah,
clicks.
it's a nightmare.
It's so much easier now to actually go ahead and actually use our iPhone or iPad and then connect it with our Sidekick to do that survey. We've even taken some cool advantage points of leveraging the Apple's AR kit, and now we have support for LiDAR. So we're taking that continuous and stop and go surveys and combining it into one where we don't have to worry about stopping and going. We don't have to worry about continuous movement. We can just freely roam the office. And that's what we call autopilot, combining the best of both worlds into those two, from those two, the older survey, traditional survey methods. This actually even makes us even survey faster, gathering more data. And it's not empirical data. Remember, we talked about gathering what matters the most. A lot of times, like, you may do surveys that are going in a straight line, right? Well, you want to kind of use the kind of curve where walk wherever you might want to walk, where the devices are going to be or where they are, and take the measurement there because you know that that's where they're going to be used.
It's amazing. That just adds another just total different dimension of adaptability and speed. That's awesome to hear. Speaking of other applications that Ekahau features, Capture, Analyzer, and Cloud are very powerful tools within the Ekahau solution suite.
Mhm.
Can you briefly explain how these tools integrate with Sidekick and Survey?
Absolutely, yeah. So for the analyzer portion here, it both works for our iOS devices and Android, where we're actually leveraging the power of the Sidekick to gather that information right from our RSSI, our SNR, connectivity, channel utilization, right? And of course, spectrum intelligence, right? So we can see all of that in play. Uh, you want to have a tool set as you're on site to figure out, hey, instead of bringing out the notebook and running a whole bunch of programs and hooking yourself up to an environment, it's like, well, I can just do this with my Sidekick over my shoulder and my iOS device and see, or Android, I should say, or mobile device, and actually see what the spectrum is doing, see what those interferers are. I need to go and track down that little rogue AP that's hiding in that under somebody's desk. Well, I can find that with my analyzer. Or maybe I would need to understand is, why are clients getting kicked off the network? Well, let's take a look at the channel utilization, and we can go in depth and see all of that. And that's what really makes it special is is giving you that red light, green light. Is yes, is it good? Is it bad? How do we actually go ahead and address those issues?
I find it very interesting that Ekahau integrates with some of the leading wireless access points manufacturers such as Cisco, HP, Aruba, Extreme, Juniper.
Mhm.
How does Ekahau Pro integrate with Cisco and Aruba access points in detecting Wi-Fi signals and modeling a Wi-Fi network?
Absolutely, that's a great question as well, is because we not only on the within our whole full gamut of softwares that we're able to actually see all those manufacturers, right? From the planning side to the surveying. So on the planning side, is amazing because we can specify specific manufacturers, right? We can specify their antennas. We understand, what their makes they are, and we get that updated continuously. And as we say, you mentioned there, we have well over 4,000 different types of APs and tenant combinations. And that's from all the vendors. They're sending us their radio patterns. We're then able to articulate that and actually visualize that right away within our software so that it knows that if you as a customer are planning to use that type of access point, you're able to see that visually on your plan so that you know what you're going to get the best of the best of what you need for your environment. And when you talk about tight integration, Ekahau's taken it one step further, and it's actually we're working closely with the Cisco DNA team, where we're able to take our projects and actually our whole building, our floor plans, everything we got in place, and then export that directly into Cisco DNA. DNA then can actually open that project file and build the entire floor plan, and including all the metrics of the site, the building, everything. And that's kind of a game changer because
Absolutely.
I do all my design in Ekahau Pro and then take it up into Cisco DNA, and I don't have to do anything else. It's already done, including your walls and obstacles already imported for you.
And that's a level of automation that you just don't see in the industry today. And that's amazing. And that's why we do, tech this, and to let everyone know these are, the features and tools that are revolutionizing the way companies work. Uh, so this is great information, Stu, and I definitely appreciate the time you've taken to put this together and to educate our viewers and listeners on Ekahau and wireless surveys. And we're so excited at Strategic Communications to have Ekahau part of our solution stack.
Well, yeah, that it's a ongoing great partnership, right? And we love to kind of continuously get the message out of kind of how what we're doing, and we're always looking for feedback as well. But you know what, Danny? There was that one thing. I've got one more thing,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it's got one more thing, and it's a one extra little piece of thing that we're working on. It's called Project Insights. And at Ekahau, we've got Insights will be launching shortly, and we mentioned this on our Wi-Fi day a couple months ago. Is we're now taking all that survey data that you've compiled from all your sites. We're actually able to translate that into a web interface and give you that over time network health. So if you decide to go and do your optimization of I'm going to today this month I'm going to go survey the 3 floors of my building, and I'm going to come back in another month or so. Maybe I want to do it monthly, depending on the type of infrastructure you have, whether you're in government or public sector or private sector. You want to be able to, and Wi-Fi is very strategic to your business. Then, or it's warehouse logistics, right? So you want to be able to survey that. Well, what we're able to do is take that survey data, give you some tangible results of understanding, like instant visibility, right? Of, okay, over time, my network health is really good, but it looks like this week is bad. What's changed?
Right.
What impact did we have that caused it? Was it too many devices? Was it the introduction of some interference? Is it something that maybe that there's some issues that we're having, some performance? And this is where we're actually taking it to the next step. And you're going to see a lot more about this in the coming months.
I look forward to hearing more about this amazing product. Stu, once again, thank you for joining us on Tech This. With a lot of great insights and a lot of great uh, you know great tools and features that Ekahau has and has upcoming. So definitely appreciate all the time that you've taken to join us today.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
For more information on Ekahau and all their products and features, please visit www.yourstrategic.com and contact us for more information. Once again, this is Danny Heron with Tech This. See you guys.
And this